of this is necessary. It's happening because a choice that Republicans in Congress have made. They've allowed these cuts to happen because they refuse to budge on closing a single wasteful loophole to help reduce the deficit.
Sounds like you're saying that this is a Republican problem and not one that you bear any responsibility for.
Well, Julie, give me an example of what I might do. I am not a dictator. I'm the president.
The president got his tax hikes on January 1st. This discussion about revenue, in my view, is over. It's about taking on the spending problem here in Washington.
Well, he was, even for the president, unusually arrogant and dismissive of the Republicans, implying that he stands for peace and truth and justice, fairness, and the Republicans care only about partisanship. But when he was asked, what would you, I mean, he says, I'm not a dictator, I'm the president. He's acting like he's a bystander. He said, he asked the president, what should I have done? Well, I'll give him a couple of suggestions. When the House passed a bill that would have shifted the cuts from discretionary spending, which is a lot harder to do, onto entitlements, which is where the money is, he said he would veto it, and therefore he would, which had he done that, the Senate never accepted it, so he didn't have to. But had he done that, it would have brought on the sequester, which he now says is going to have all these horrible effects. And secondly, what he could have done is when the Senate Republicans offered him in a bill just yesterday authority over moving the funds so you can take it out of a low priority program or one that's not working and spare the important ones like meat inspection and air traffic control. He refused it, and he said had it passed, he would have issued a veto. He wants to let all of this happen in order that it causes maximum disruption and pain, in order that the Republicans will come on their knees to him in a couple of months and cave on loopholes on taxes and on spending.
Starting tomorrow, everybody here, all the folks who are cleaning the floors at the Capitol, now that Congress has left, somebody's going to be vacuuming and cleaning those floors and throwing out the garbage. They're going to have less pay. The janitors, the security guards, they just got a pay cut, and they got to figure out how to manage that. That's real.
The architect of the Capitol says that's not real. Quote, we do not anticipate furloughs for AOC employees as a result of sequestration. That means any of the janitors will not see any pay cuts. Now, when it comes to overtime, they may cut back on overtime. But as far as pay cuts, that's not going to happen. The Washington Post says this, quote, Obama's remarks continue the administration's pattern of overstating the potential impact of the sequester, which we have explored this week.
He will sign it, and he'll wait for the cuts to actually cause pain and disruption. He's playing a long game here. He gave in his inaugural address a vision of an entitlement state liberalism that is his legacy, but that's what he wants to enact. That there is one obstacle, the Republican House, that stopped him in the second half of the first term. He wants to destroy it. He beat them on the fiscal cliff, on taxes, and now he wants a way to destroy them on spending by waiting until the Republicans will cave on this and say, okay, we're going to give it to you in taxes instead of in cuts because the pain will become intolerable. This is all about a political game, winning the upper hand for the rest of his agenda, because he isn't interested in spending or deficits or cuts at all.
Every week we have the Friday Lightning Round, and here we are. And the big story, Keystone XL pipeline, the State Department coming out with an environmental study saying essentially that it's environmentally sound, but it is not approving the project going forward. That has to do, that is falling to the president, and we don't have word that has happened as of yet. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce put out a statement saying, quote, the environmental impact statement released today is long overdue, continues to build a strong case supporting the construction of the Keystone XL pipeline. It will create thousands of jobs and generate millions in revenue for state, local governments that badly need them. The Sierra Club, you wouldn't be surprised, had a different take. They're outraged by the State Department's deeply flawed analysis today. Whether this failure was willful or accidental, this report is nothing short of malpractice. President Obama said that he's committed to fighting the climate crisis. If that's true, he should throw the State Department's report away and reject the dirty and dangerous Keystone XL pipeline.
You know, we can't really change that impact on it. We buy a lot of our gas from Canada, so it's a pretty weak argument, and politically I don't think it's in Obama's interest to agree with them.
Charles.
I agree. The State Department attempted it as a punt, but it completely undermines the main arguments against XL, the main argument. And it said, the report said, it's not going to have any effect on climate because essentially Canada is not going to leave it in the ground. So if it doesn't end up here, it'll end up in China. So refusing it has zero effect on climate, and that completely undermines any opposition argument.
Secretary Kerry on his trip in Turkey today, reacting to the Prime Minister in Turkey, saying this, Prime Minister Erdogan, quote, just as with Zionism, anti-Semitism, and fascism, it has become impossible not to see Islamophobia as a crime against humanity. Here's what Secretary Kerry said about that.
We found it objectionable, but that said, Turkey and Israel are both vital allies of the United States. It is essential that both Turkey and Israel find a way to take steps in order to bring about or to rekindle their historic cooperation. I think that's possible, but obviously we have to get beyond the kind of rhetoric that we've just seen recently.
Charles.
I'm glad that the Secretary of State said that, because his boss, the president, has extremely close relations with precisely the man who said that obscene attack on Zionism. And it said that Erdogan is Obama's closest friend, if you like, or at least relationship among the leaders in the world. And I think it's disgraceful the way he's apologized or overlooked what Turkey has done internally in curbing the press. There are more journalists in jail in Turkey than anywhere, and the way he's sort of overlooked its relations, its poisoned relations with Israel.
My loser is Graham Zelinsky, who's the official spokesman for the Wisconsin Democratic Party, who today compared Governor Scott Walker to Jeffrey Dahmer, the serial killer. My winner is you, Brett Baer, and the show, and the staff, for 50 months atop the ratings.
Oh, wow. Picture, too.
Since coming, so big congratulations.
Thank you, Steve.
Nicely done.
You get double winner and loser time next time. Sorry, Erdogan took up all your time.
Well, after that, how do I top what he said and still remain on the show?
Yeah, you might be the loser this week. That's it for the panel.
This has been a Sunfish production.